Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
That's a nutrient management for crops. So here, once you know the deficiency symptoms, then we'll go for the management of the nutrients. How we can go for the nutrient management for the crops. So here will be the nutrient source and recommendation for a field crop, then nutrient requirement quantification for field crops, how you can quantify how much nutrient to be applied. So in general, what is the nutrient management? So it's a very generic one. Nutrient management implies managing all nutrient sources, that is fertilizer, organic manures, waste materials, soil reserves, biological nitrogen fixations and biofertilizer in such a way that yield is not jeopardized with a minimum loss of nutrients to the environment with a high fertilizer use efficiency. So what we need to know, nutrient management means not only management of your chemical fertilizer. So as we are going for, we are discussing every time we are targeting for a sustainability. In that case, we need to exploit the all sources of nutrition. That is from whatever available from the soil sources, how much soil is nutrient available in the soils, how much to be applied, and what are different sources. We look for the organic sources like different green manuring, green leaf manuring, compost application. Then we can think of biological nitrogen fixation, having the crops like legume crops or intercropping cereals with legumes. They can provide some of the nutrients, or having legumes in crop rotation so that the soil can be enriched with some nutrients. That's the way of enriching the soil fertility, and how to minimize the loading of chemical fertilizers or the external application of fertilizers. So that's what different the approaches of nutrient management means. You have to see the sources of nutrient, different sources of nutrient from where you can get the nutrient and how much that nutrient can be applied in used integrated concept, integrated manner, so that we can sustain the productions. So now we are thinking of organic farming. You see, it's good. In India also you can find the state Sikkim is a fully organic. Is a fully organic state where they are not using a single dose of chemical fertilizers. Sikkim has no different as a you see the climatic conditions or the soil conditions is some of the temperate I can say very low temperature, where we can go successful growing the organic way, and you are using the local varieties there. But if you go for the high yielding varieties, especially for rice, for few crops, rice crops, real crops, it is very difficult to grow organic waste in climate like us. Here we need the sufficient amount of nutrient for rice crops to meet the need of the crop. And as we discussed earlier, rice growth phases, we need nutrient at particular stages. If you miss that stage, then if you apply nutrient at later stages, then we are going to have a loss in yield. So to do that one, to meet the nutrient requirement at specific growth stages, it requires nutrient specific growth stages. Probably application of only organic fertilizer will not able to meet the need of the crop. So in that case, or you have to apply heavy dose of organic fertilizers to meet the need, which is not practically feasible as well. So in that case, to have this sustained productions, we go for the integrated nutrient management, especially for some type of crops like rice, wheat. Those real crops, they have the nutrient requirement at specific growth stages as a growth stage specific nutrient demand. Like if you have the higher productions, you should have more tiller. To have more tiller, you should have sufficient nutrient at the beginning. If you apply nutrient at after the tillering phase is over, you are not going to have tiller numbers. That stage is over. So in those cases for crops, we need to go for the integrated nutrient management to maintain the production, to maximize productions. However, for some other crops, I can say tomato, brinjal, okra, these are the fruit vegetable crops where you are harvesting at different stages. Unlike rice and wheat and corn, they are harvested at one stage. When the crop matures, you are harvesting. Those crops are known as a determinant crops, where the stages are very specific. You should supply nutrient at specific growth stages. But other crops are non-determinants like as a tomato, brinjal, okra, where you are harvesting the vegetables in sequence. So as and when they mature. Tomato, today you have matured, few tomato you pluck it. Then after few days, few will be matured, then you will plucking as and when the crop mature, and maturity continues for longer periods. Those crops are indeterminate crops. That means they require the requirement of nutrients throughout the growth stages. because they don't have a distinct phase of vegetative and reproductive. They are the vegetative and reproductive, they are continue in parallel. They go on reproductive, they have also vegetative. So in that case, there is a continuity supply of nutrient is essential, and where organic farming is one of the good option. You can manage that crop fully organic way, because organic fertilizer, they supply nutrient is a slow release and continuous basis. So that may be very suitable for those type of crops where there is a fruiting is a continuous one, your harvest is as a continuity harvest goes on, but not exactly for the crops like rice and wheat and corn, where your harvest at a specific stages and their nutrient requirement also specific stages. In that case, we may think of integrated nutrient management to have a sustained productions. However, other crops we can go for completely organic without applying chemical fertilizers. We can because the nutrient supply is a continuous one, this longer periods, so the crop can get the requirement and to have the same production. That's what you can say. You can go for nutrient management. You have to see the crops, which crops you are applying, which crops you are thinking of, and what type of the nutrient management you should think of, organic or completely the integrated nutrient management. So for that nutrient management, there is a 4 R's of nutrient management. It should be right quantity of nutrient, right method, right time, and right source. So these are the 4 R's of the precision nutrient management. Should be right quantity and right method, right time, right source. So the quantity, we need to calculate the quantity, but sometimes quantity depends upon how much quantity depends what method you are using, right? And the timing okay, source is okay. So if the source from which source you are using chemical source or you are using organic source. But the quantity, the method means methods talks about efficiency. The efficiency of fertilizer use, what method you are using. The methods are, you can go for broadcasting. Broadcasting means, as discussed for seed sowing as a broadcasting. So without that means without proper placement. So the spreading of the fertilizers in the crop field without proper incorporation, that is broadcasting. If you go for broadcasting, then the loss will be more and the use of the plant by plant will be less, efficiency will be lower. In that case, you need the more amount of fertilizers, right? And if you go for as a placement of the fertilizers at a particular depth as a need of the crop, or the fertilizer can be well mixed in the soil and that can be placed in a zone where the crop can take better as a proper root zone, then the efficiency becomes higher and less, the loss becomes less. In that case, the amount to be applied, the quantity of fertilizer to be needed, that can be reduced. So that is what the point now. When you go for the right method of applications, then you can minimize the loss of fertilizer. If the loss is less, then your application can be decreased, the quantity requirement that can be decreased. So now we'll discuss the nutrient application rate. That means the how much nutrient to be quantification of nutrient for a particular crop. How can you quantify the nutrient requirement of the crop? So the quantifications, as you say, the quantity of nutrient by quantity of nutrient released by organic matter or the nutrient released by terms of decomposition. If you go for different sources, as you see for nutrient application, if you follow this formula, NF, the nutrient to be applied, is equal to NC, the nutrient demand of the crop, minus NS, the nutrient sources, that means the source of nutrient applying, maybe from the soil I can say, and minus NL, the nutrient loss. So if you see the amount of nutrient to be applied, that is equal to nutrient demand of the crop minus the nutrient available in the soil, how much nutrient available, or the source, what source you are in, the soil source, especially I am talking soil, and the loss from the nutrients. The loss of the nutrients, then you can see how much to be applied. I think, are you getting this one? The amount of nutrient to be applied, NF, is equal to NC, the nutrient requirement of the crop, minus NS, the nutrient from source or soil, minus the loss of nutrient. You have to take the loss of nutrient, and this loss depends upon the technique of applications, how you are applying your fertilizers. If you are going for broadcasting, or if you are going for the placement exactly at the zone where the crop needs. So that depends, that talks about the loss of nutrient where you apply. So the efficiency, sometimes if you apply for broadcasting, the efficiency may be 10%, 20%, the amount of fertilizer utilized by the crop if you are applying 100 kg, only 10-20 kg of fertilizer is utilized by the crop, 80 kg goes on loss. And if you are going for placement at specific zone, the efficiency may be 50% or 60%. No, that means you are applying 100 kg of fertilizer, 60 kg is utilized by the crop, rest 40 kg is loss. Loss will be there definitely. No, you cannot stop the loss because the losses happen in the field. You cannot have the 100% utilization from the fertilizers. Once you are applying fertilizers to any source, it may be organic or it may be chemical sources. So there will be mineralizations, and through that mineralizations, there will be uptake by the crop, but crop not necessarily a crop can take exactly the amount released by the crop. If the release amount is higher than the uptake, so that does not that may go for the loss. If the soil is depending upon the soil type of nutrient that goes. If the soil soil is good, healthy enough, high organic carbon. The carbon is the source of holding the nutrient. It can hold the nutrient for certain periods. The soil has very low organic carbon, that goes on loss, maybe leaching loss or the depercolation loss, or the losses from the field that may happen because as depend upon the cotton exchange capacity of the soil, how long the soil the nutrient can be retained by the soil. So looking at this, so this is approach for the nutrient the requirement calculation. That means you need to know the nutrient requirement of the crop. You know the nutrient requirement of the crop minus the nutrient present in the source, available nutrient present in the source minus loss. Then you can have the amount of nutrient to be supplied. Then how the question is how can calculate the nutrient requirement of the crop? Yeah. How can you know the nutrient requirement of the crop? Any idea?
Soil testing.
Sir, maybe we can.
Yes.
Sir, maybe we can perform different experiments and then monitor the growth of a specific variety of seeds, and then we will get an idea of what kind of seeds require what kind of nutrients.
Yes, that's true. That's correct. So nutrient requirement is a crop specific because if you take rice crop, there's so many varieties are there. Okay, some variety of 100 days, some variety of less than 100 days, some variety of 120 days, some variety of 150 days. And based on the varieties, because we calculate nutrient and they have the nutrient content in the leaf portion, stem portion, nutrient content in the grain portion. So if you that is calculated from a controlled experiment as a field level experiment. You grow the varieties and see the maximum where you get the maximum yield optimization of a particular crop, particular variety. In that case, what is the nutrient content remains in the grain portion, leaf portion and stem portion towards maturity. When the crop is matured, what type of contents are there and what is the nutrient removal from the soil. If you calculate the nutrient removal from the soil, that's the nutrient you are removing from the above ground biomass. That is removing by harvesting the crop, so nutrient present in the leaf portions or the biomass portion, and also nutrient present in the grain portion. If you add those things, that talks about the nutrient requirement of the crop for optimum conditions, for optimum yield, to have a maximized yield of this tons per hectare as a yield, attainable yield. To have that much of yield, this much of nutrient has to be taken away by the crop from the soil. So that is as nutrient requirement. This much of demand must be fulfilled, and source may be depend what source you are giving. But this much of uptake of nutrient required by the crop to have maximum production. That is what we can calculate the nutrient requirement. That's a crop specific and variety specific. For a particular variety and particular crop, that's a nutrient requirement is done by through experiment only. And in that case, and then your application depends soil. If your soil know what much soil nutrient available, how much available, and what is the loss is expected. If you go on applications of fertilizers and the way you are applying, what the efficiency of fertilizer, if you don't know that one, then you need to know how much fertilizer to be applied. Suppose you have no nutrient requirement is 100 kg and the soil available is 50 kg. Your requirement is 50 kg and soil available 50 kg. And loss is less, so there is no loss, 0. Then you need to apply how much? 50 kg, is not it? If loss is 0, requirement 100, soil has 50 kg and there is no loss, then you can apply the 100 minus 50, that becomes 50 kg. But depending upon the loss, suppose loss is 10 kg or 20 kg, 30 kg, then your nutrient requirement will increase, is not it? Suppose if 50 kg or the soil, loss is 10 kg, how much will you apply?
60 kg.
60 kg. So depending upon the loss or loss, so nutrient fertilizer recommendation depends upon the loss, and the loss is regulated by your application technique, the method of application, how you are applying. If you are applying the broadcasting, loss will be very high. You are going for the placement using some specific tillage implements or the fertilizer applicator, loss will be less. And if you are using through drip, suppose drip irrigation, again the loss will be also very applying very close, very small amount, very close, loss will also very less. So depending upon the application technique, then this the amount to be recommended amount to be fertilizer that can be calculated. So there are different approaches for the recommendation to quantification of the fertilizer need of the crop. So these are a general recommendations. So that's a blanket recommendation what usually farmers follow or farmers do. So there is no scientific way of calculating recommendation. So general recommendation given for a specific for a soil type of, these are the soil type of low, medium and high fertility. The soil type of low, medium soil is categorized based on soil fertility, the low fertile soil, medium fertile soil or high fertile soil. So based on the organic carbon, available nitrogen, available phosphorus and available potash content kg per hectare in soil. The soil of medium fertility, it has organic carbon 0.5 to 0.75%, available nitrogen content around 280 to 560 kg per hectare, available phosphorus content around 10 to 25 kg per hectare, and available potassium around 110, around 8 to 280 kg per hectare. This is the range of different nutrients for the soil of medium fertility. You can see range is also a very wide range. Suppose the soil has 280 kg to 560 kg nitrogen, we can see soil of medium fertility. But so the soil having the range above this, we have the high fertile soil, and range below this, below 0.5, say low fertile, below 280 kg nitrogen, the low fertile soil, below 10 kg P, that's a low fertile, below 108 kg K, that is low fertile soil, low for the particular nutrients. So when you go for the general recommendation, blanket recommendation, we give the nutrient requirement of soil of the crops for a particular soil. Exactly, we give the recommendation. We give, suppose crop is rice. Crop is rice. Usually give recommendation for the macronutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, three major nutrients. The dose, nutrient dose, nitrogen is to phosphorus is to potash, that is equal to 100 is to phosphorus we take in terms of P2O5, the compound, and potash in terms of K2O. So that becomes 100 is to 50 is to 50 kg per hectare. Per hectare. For particular rice crop, the nutrient dose we give nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. Potash in the form of P2O5 and phosphorus in the form of P2O5 and potash in the form of K2O. (100 kg nitrogen, 50 kg P2O5 and 50 kg K2O per hectare. That is the dose for a you give the dose, and that is for medium fertility soil. That comes for the medium fertility soil. So this recommendation given for medium fertility soil. Suppose the soil has low fertility. In that case, what we do, we increase this dose of fertilizer by 25%. If soil is low fertility, in case of soil is low fertility for any nutrient, we increase the dose by 25%. If soil is high fertility, we decrease the dose by 25%. That is what very, as a conventional scale you can say. So it's not very scientific. And the range is also very huge. So in this case, suppose soil has 400 kg nitrogen available, still you are supplying 100 kg. If soil has 500 kg nitrogen, also you are supplying 100 kg. The range is huge, but you are supplying 100 kg for a huge range of fertility. That's a blanket recommendation. And in case it is low, without knowing the proper soil status and without knowing the proper crop demand, we go for the blanket recommendation, which usually farmers recommended to farmers for particular zone, for particular soil, particular area, for particular crop. This goes for the recommendation for the nutrient as a nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, major nutrients, N, P2O5, K2O, 150, 50 kg per hectare. And this is a nutrient recommendation. Then if you go for the source, where the source? Because source of nitrogen, that is urea, and source of that is fertilizer, say single superphosphate, SSP, single superphosphate, and source of that is your MOP, muriate of potash. These are the chemical fertilizers. The source, if you see, urea, that contains 46% nitrogen, and the SSP, single superphosphate, that contains 16% P2O5, and MOP, that contains 60% K2O. These are the source of fertilizer. So the nutrient dose 150, 50 kg per hectare, N, P2O5, K2O, and this is source, nitrogen, source of nitrogen, that urea, these are chemical fertilizers. Urea contains 46% nitrogen, and source of phosphorus, single superphosphate, that contains 16% P2O5, and source of potash, muriate of potash, that is your potassium chloride, that contains 60% K2O. And this source, then you can calculate the required, suppose dose is 150 kg per hectare for particular soil, then you can calculate the quantity per 1 hectare. Now you can calculate the quantity for 1 hectare. Quantity for 1 hectare. 1 hectare. Quantity for 1 hectare, how much? Urea is equal to how much? SSP and MOP. So these are the nutrient, but this nutrient is not directly available. They come from some source. When you go for application to correct the deficiency, you will apply these fertilizers: urea, single superphosphate, muriate of potash. If there is a N deficiency, you have to apply urea. If there is a P deficiency, you need to apply single superphosphate. If there is a K deficiency, you need to apply muriate of potash. So they contains this much of nutrient. Urea contains 46% nitrogen, SSP contains 16% P2O5, and MOP contains 60% K2O. Suppose in a field you require 100 kg nitrogen, 50 kg P2O5, and 50 kg K2O per hectare, and those nutrients have to be supplied from urea, SSP, MOP. Now you can calculate how much urea is required, how much SSP, and how much MOP will be required. Okay. How much urea?
Two 217.4 kg per hectare.
Urea for 1 hectare
Yes,
in
sir.
kg. Quantity in kg for 1 hectare. Urea 217.4 and SSP
312.5 kg per hectare.
312.5. MOP
166.6.
166. 166.6.
Sir, half of it, I guess, 83.3.
That's how much? 15 to 100 by 60.
83.3. Sir, 83.3.
83.6.
3.
Okay. So all could get this one.
Yes, sir.
Urea, okay. 15 to 100 by 60. And that 12. Yes. So if you requirement is N-P2O5K2O 150 50 kg per hectare, and that has to be supplemented through urea, SSP, MOP. This is the requirement. That is for blanket recommendation. Suppose in case you are applying the including organic and also chemical together, right? Not only you are applying the chemical fertilizer. Suppose you want to apply as an integrated nutrient management, including organic fertilizers and chemical fertilizer. If you go for only chemical fertilizer, only through chemical fertilizer, if you want to go for the application through chemical and organic fertilizer, through chemical and organic fertilizer. And in case of organic fertilizer, you will be using the source organic fertilizer that is your vermicompost. Vermicompost that contains 2.0% nitrogen. 2% 0% nitrogen and 1.2% P2O5 and 1% K2O. So this is the case, you are applying the same amount of nutrient, you have to apply through vermicompost as organic fertilizer and chemical fertilizer together. Combination of organic and chemical fertilizer How much fertilizer to be applied? Organic fertilizer. Organic fertilizer vermicompost to be applied to meet 50% of the N requirement and rest 50% from N from urea, chemical fertilizer. So 50% of N requirement to vermicompost and rest 50% N through chemical fertilizer. Okay. So first you have to calculate the dose of vermicompost that meets the 50% N requirement, and the vermicompost as organic fertilizer is supply many other nutrients. So as we are going to balance the N, P and K, then you need to calculate how much P2O5 and K2O supplied through additional vermicompost. So rest P2O5 K2O should be supplemented through your chemical fertilizers. So in this case now I think it's clear to you, if you are going for integrated application of chemical fertilizer and organic fertilizer, and we know the source of organic fertilizer, that is vermicompost, will be using, that contains 2% nitrogen, 1.2% P2O5 and 1% K2O, and we need to supply 50% of the N demand, N requirement as you say from the vermicompost, and rest 50% N through chemical fertilizer. So in this case, we should first calculate the quantity of vermicompost will be required, and if you know the quantity of vermicompost, then we need to know how much NPK supplemented by this vermicompost, rest PK and rest P and K to be supplied through SS and MOP. So can you do this one?
Sir, the amount of chemical fertilizer will be half of the above mentioned quantity. Above mentioned means urea equal to 217.4. It will be half of that.
It will have definitely.
And
Sir, vermicompost is coming 2.5 thousand kg.
2.5.
2.5 2,500 kg.
2500.
Yeah.
And SSP is 2083.33, sir.
Sorry, 2000.
83.33.
Somebody said 2,500.
That is
Sir.
for urea,
Nitrogen.
Urea 83, yeah.
Sir, for
Whereas asked
nitrogen,
only for nitrogen.
for nitrogen, vermicompost 2005. Okay, sir.
sir, I think we must apply 5,000.
2% nitrogen. You need 50 kg nitrogen through vermicompost.
Okay, if we consider only nitrogen, 2,500 is correct.
Yeah.
I think
Because you are supplying 50% N through vermicompost.
Yes, sir. But 2,500 kg of vermicompost gives more than 1.2% of P2O5.
How much P2O5 supplies this one?
If we give 2083.33, it will give 1.2% of P2O5.
How much it's supplying? Into 1.2%, how much comes this one?
Sir, I think 4.16.
4.2, 1.2.
30 kg. 30 kg of P2O5 will be supplied now.
30 kg?
In 22.5 kg of vermicompost, we will get 30 kg of P2O5. No?
Okay, 30 kg P2O5. Well done. 25 into 1.2 by 100. 30 kg P2O5. That's true. And how much K2O?
25
kg.
25 kg K2O.
25. 25.
Good. So the through vermicompost, you are applying 25 kg, supplies 30 kg P2O5, 25 kg K2O. Now from 50 kg you deduct 30 kg, you require 20 kg P2O5 from SSP and 25 kg K2O from MOP. Okay, so urea become half of this one. 217.4 by 2, how much?
Sir, 1.08. Sorry, 108.52. 108.52.
108.5, okay. That is for urea. Then how much SSP will be required?
50 minus 30, no? P2 of, no, sorry.
20 into 100 by 16.
30 minus.
Around 120 something will come.
Sir, the urea amount is 108.7.
It's okay, no problem. I'm making 109, that's fine. So SSP how much?
So 125.
125. It's okay, 125. And MOP?
Half of that.
Half of that.
41.6.
41.6. So this is how we go for the nutrient dose calculation. The simple calculation of nutrient dose based on the requirement. Suppose this is the requirement as NPK 150 kg per hectare, and based on the source. Once you know the source from where you need to apply fertilizer, and the requirement is known, quantity is known, how much to be applied, and source is known, and then we are able to calculate the exact quantity of each source to be used for this crop. Okay. So anybody has any doubt and could not do, please clarify here.
Sir, will we always use the condition 50% of nitrogen requirement through vermicompost?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. When there is a condition, or sometimes you go fully to organic fertilizer. Okay. You don't apply any chemical fertilizer. Then you apply full. Then you have to go for the double this one, 5 tons, right?
Yes.
So, so depends upon the conditions, what you want. You go for fully organic fertilizers, no chemical applications. You go for integrated of 50-50, or you go fully chemical fertilizer, no organic. If you go fully for chemical, they require urea 217 kg, or SSP 313 kg, 12 kg, or MOP 84 kg. If you go for the integration of chemical and organic, then this is the requirement. And if you use some other sources, suppose organic fertilizer, you are using vermicompost. If you want to use, in addition to vermicompost, you go for green manuring. That supplies some nutrient also. In that case, your chemical fertilizer requirement still reduced. If you go on adding more and more source through organic fertilizer, then requirement of the chemical fertilizer will be slowly reduced. So based on that one, your conditions, how much you are depending upon the availability actually. The farmer has what are the sources available. If farmer has available of huge amount of organic sources and different sources available, he can meet the requirement, then we can think of reducing the use of chemical fertilizer. If farmer has less source available, then you have to apply more chemical fertilizers as chemical fertilizer, because we don't want to sacrifice the production. We want to maintain the productions. We don't want to any yield penalty. At the same time, we must maintain the sustainability. That means we don't want to harm the environment. In case there is many sources available, then we can go on reducing chemical fertilizer. This is a specific crop. If the crop is like tomato, or you can say brinjal, okra, where we can more focus on minimizing less and less chemical fertilizer, more and more organic, because it can sustain better with organic farming. With use of only organic also, it can give better yield. But in case of cereal crops, you go for only organic, it will be somehow you will be able to maintain. If you are applying huge amount with less amount, you may not able to attain same production as of chemical fertilizer.
Yes.
Yeah, so if anybody has any clarifications for the nutrient requirement calculation, please. Yeah. No. All are clear because I'll be putting question definitely similar type of question, different type of question for the nutrient dose calculation.
It's clear, sir.
Yeah, it's clear. Okay. Okay. So next one is the regression analysis, and I think these things I'll take up in next class. But I want to have Viva for few students, at least 5 to 6 students. I'll have the comprehensive Viva today. If you have no more question, then probably we'll close it here. If anybody any question, please go ahead.
Sir, sir, I
Yes,
just
please.
calculated, sir, for this particular question, I just calculated the cost of vermicompost and the cost of what to say the total cost of using urea plus SSP and MOP. So
Yeah.
what I found was that the total cost of vermicompost to provide the same soil fertility is coming to be about double the
Yeah.
cost which the farmer has to pay to use chemical fertilizers. Now, sir, the point is that farmers are not willing to, spend more money in order to make vermicompost and apply it in their soil. Rather, they just prefer to buy inorganic fertilizer. So, sir, how can it be solved? Because I also visited a few farmers and they also go for chemical fertilizers, and they are facing the drawbacks because every subsequent year they have to apply more and more chemical fertilizers, and in that way the quality is still degrading. But they cannot still switch to organic fertilizers because number one, they cost a lot more. Number two, they say that when we apply organic fertilizers, the first few years the yield actually decreases and then it slowly starts increasing. So, sir, what is the practical solution?
Yes, it's a pertinent question. The question is I say what the farmers are facing the problem when you go for the organic farming. But what I say, if the farmer they follow right technology, it can be profitable. Definitely, if you go for only vermicompost and you are applying huge amount here, suppose 1 kg cost 10 rupees, then it's 25,000 rupees you are spending only vermicompost, right? But in that case, if some farmer wants to go for organic farming, that's not a good idea to purchase vermicompost from other source.
Yes, sir.
It's,
Yes, sir.
it's
The production cost of vermicompost is about 2 rupees per kg, sir.
yeah. So that way he has to do in his own farm. If he buy from outside, yeah, it becomes expensive. Even the per kg 10 rupees outside, more than 10 rupees, as 10 rupees minimum. But he has to produce in his own farm. It becomes economical.
Sir, it's the same thing, sir. I saw a video. So
Now,
basically, a
let me,
farmer, what he was
I'm
doing.
telling, this is one way.
Okay.
He can bring the production cost by having his own vermicompost. This is one. The other thing now, he should not depend only on vermicompost. When going fully organic, not only on vermicompost, there are other sources are there. Let him go for green manuring, so that if you add other sources like green manuring, biofertilizer, this requirement of 250 kg, it will come down 500 kg. Why should go for 250 kg? If you integrate from other sources like green manuring, biofertilizers, and whatever you may have the bone dust, you may have other oil cakes, maybe groundnut oil cakes. Those are the different sources are there, farmer. If he can use, and this requirement can be still come down. So that is what I say. If somebody is going for organic farming, there should be no use of external inputs from the outside farm, external farm inputs. He has to produce organic on his own farm. If he depends vermicompost purchasing and using, that will not be economical. That will be very, very expensive. He has to produce, he has to make on his own resources if somebody goes for organics. That's what he need to do. And from different sources, don't depend only one source. You have to go for combinations of different sources. Then the rate of the cost of production can come down. Otherwise, it will be very expensive.
Sir, but we have to consider the quality of soil also, no? So that it should not degrade no much.
Definitely, that's one. Once you are applying organic, definitely you are
There are
improving.
too many factors, no? Like economic factor, the degradation of soil factor. So how do you consider all this?
No, degradation of soil factor, economic factor. See, economically, you see, when you going for the soil fertility has to be maintained. You know what is soil fertility, how much to be improved, how much less organic chemical fertilizer to be used. Accordingly, you prepare your organic. Organic means you prepare on your own farm. Don't purchase. Even 2500, if you have from your own farm, it will be it will be cheap one. But if you purchase from outside, it will be expensive. Even if you are without adding vermicompost, you go for only green manuring. That also cannot be organic. Before sowing the crops, have some dhancha, green manuring. And when the crop comes, green manuring is dhancha crop is used for green manuring. That gives a tremendous effect for rice yield. When it becomes 60 days, you plow that.
Really, any method like we can prepare vermicompost like in this much of quantity, because a single farmer cannot produce this much quantity. Like 100 kg is also a large amount. So
no, sir.
No.
Sir, it can be produced, sir. I have seen, sir. There are beds, specific beds and specific techniques to produce this.
People can produce. If some small farmer say he cannot produce this one, go for alternate source. Actually, you go for combination of different organic sources. If you cannot, somebody says no, I cannot produce vermicompost huge amount. So there are alternate sources available. I told go for green manuring. Then you require less amount. That you can go. You have to show for the integration of different sources. If somebody has deficit or he has some problems, he says that no, I have some constraints. He has land constraint or some constraint for vermicomposting or whatever the case. He can go for alternate sources.